Woo. Anyway, we are on to picks and bans here. The second game between exceL and VergeGG now. exceL, strong early start in the last game. They were pretty good. They had their whole protect the AD carry team comp online. And then bit by bit, piece by piece, brick by brick, they were falling apart. exceL, what can they do this time to stem the flow?
Depends what AD carry. Depends what AD carry. Depends what composition they're going to choose to run this time round. Are they going to go for another protect the AD carry composition? Are they going to value Jinx this much this time round? We'll have to see. Thresh again being banned out. Now, I think banning Thresh against Rafa is a fairly decent way to go, but I do think that that ban could be used in another aspect. And immediately banning Orianna and Ahri. Sejuani is still up. Plex could go for Sejuani. Ahri being banned, I think it's putting pressure onto Imberlite. They're going to ban Nidalee against Plex as well, which is interesting because Plex now doesn't rate Nidalee at all. Plex says that Nidalee is now a trash tier jungler because you can no longer clear the jungle in one sweep, essentially. You have to go back previously.
I'm pretty sure Nutri from FM Esports would disagree with him. One of his top played junglers, and he tends to win when he plays
But then very recently, he had a nerf to her base health, which meant that she can't clear the jungle in one sweep very easily anyway.
Definitely.
Not as easily as she used to be able to. So Plex doesn't rate her very much. I mean, I still think Nidalee is a really fantastic jungler, but you've got to play her a little bit safer this time round.
The prioritization of Rek'Sai here is really interesting from exceL. We've seen Nocturnal Plex play that a few times. Tends to do well on it, but when he falls behind in the early game, he really struggles to make an impact in the mid to late.
Yeah, and going to be Rek'Sai for Nocturnal Plex.
That's what I said.
Is that what you said?
Yeah.
I
said
listening.
the prioritization of Rek'Sai here is really interesting for Nocturnal Plex. He tends to do well on it, but when he falls behind,
sorry, I was
mid to late.
Too many brain processes going on.
The prioritization of Rek'Sai here by Nocturnal Plex. Yeah, and it looks like Dan's going to pick up the Gragas once more.
Yeah, so I was thinking in my head, why haven't they gone for Gragas? Because obviously Nocturnal Plex plays a lot of Rek'Sai. We've seen him play a lot of Rek'Sai previously, and like you said, sometimes does fall off towards that area of mid game. He does really well in the early, but then does sometimes step down. And actually, they've given Prince Philip Morgana, and Dan is going to get Gragas again. So I was thinking Gragas is up. A lot of people would prioritize Gragas these days, but going to be Rek'Sai. So that is going to be a pickup for Plex here, obviously. And obviously, I imagine that is going to be Morgana for Prince Philip.
Yeah.
Unless he does go for that Shen again, and they might give that over to Rafa. We have seen Imberlite play Morgana mid from time to time. Very, very infrequently, but it does happen. And Vidius potentially going for that Vladimir, and they're going to pick up the Janna as well. So looking less and less like a protect the AD carry composition. I would expect something like Corki to come out here for exabyte. That's one of his most played champions.
Yeah, Corki works really well.
He plays really well on that.
With the extra magic damage and the Hema play, it can work out really, really well if you time them properly. Lucian, of course, pretty strong as well. Corki into Jinx works really well for the Corki as well, because you've got good long-range harassment when you hit level 6. In the early game, you might struggle a little bit against the Fishbones, though. Yeah,
exactly. And that is going to be Jinx for Nizar. So this is something that happens with VG. If you don't take Jinx away, they usually always pick Jinx, and then Nizar goes pretty big on that champion. Going to be up to exabyte and Red Movement here to pick something. I mean, Red Movement's already got the Janna. They're going to go for the Sivir, which I guess takes away... It takes away the threat of the Morgana as a support, and it's going to be Artorias on Sion. We've seen him play a really great Sion.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe even Shyvana, TP, and...
Well, Shyvana takes it away from Prince Philip, who was hovering over the Smite teleport.
Yes, but he's now gone for the Flash teleport. We saw him do this previously, so we can't talk. But if this is Shyvana, then Prince Philip is going to be playing that Morgana against him. We'll have to see, because I haven't seen Artorias play much Shyvana. I think he's a lot more comfortable on Sion.
Yeah.
But it is going to be potentially locked in here. This may be a Shyvana going over for Artorias. Yeah, and the confirmation of the teleport and Smite means that it's definitely going to be Dragon Lady making her way to the top. So this composition looks very much more like an all-in sort of really have to synergize with that Vladimir ultimate. I think Vladimir is going to be the real crux here, because they've got a lot of engage. They've got the Sivir ultimate, which allows Shyvana and Rek'Sai to get in fairly easily. Vladimir then has the Ghost, so he can catch up as well. Good Vladimir ult placement, and then just have exabyte from the backline doing what he can. But I really think this is going to be all about the Vladimir. Now, Vidius has said that he's happy to play Vladimir into Xerath. That's probably why they picked it up on that rotation, because they imagined that Imberlite would play. Oh, he's locked in the Poppy. Wow. I mean, actually, I'm gonna check that that's not.
Oh, I hope it's a Poppy.
I'm gonna check that it's not.
I hope it's a Poppy.
Yeah.
Top lane Poppies. No, it's not a Poppy.
Oh, it's not a Poppy.
Darn it. Imbolite is telling me, oh, it's Shen. Well, that makes
It's a
sense.
Shen,
Shen into
okay.
Shyvana is something we've seen a couple of times over the weekend in the LCS matches. So, that sort of matchup is not a huge amount tends to happen in the lane. You've got the faintest Shen that gives you the little bit of a shield. You can sustain yourself up with the key strike, and then Shyvana, she's got Twin Bite. Yeah, she's got Burnout. She can get a little bit of damage down. But assuming the Shen plays safe enough, he shouldn't really lose out in that matchup too much.
It really depends,
yeah.
I think. Obviously, blue side it gives the advantage over to exceL because they'll have the Gromp buff. Shyvana will probably be leveling her Flame Breath first, so she'll be just looking to basically chunk Shen down as much as possible. You can go through quite high amounts of max percentage health with that Flame Breath, so I actually don't think this is cut and dry in that top lane. I do think Artorias can have the potential to win this one out.
Yeah.
It really depends on what buffs are taken advantage of here and who really just basically can get ahead in the early game. And also, Artorias can very easily go for Blade the Ruined King.
Yeah.
But it's unlikely that he'll go for that early on. So Shen may be fairly safe on that sense. Prince Philip will probably be...
I feel they probably need a tank coming out from Artorias in the early game because Nocturnal Plex will go tanky after he gets probably Skirmisher's Saber and Warrior Enchant. VDS might go for the tanky Shen build, especially against an Imbolite who's going to be able to harass him down from lane actually. I wouldn't be surprised if we see the Will of the Ancients into Rylays or into a Spirit Visage.
It's likely going to be that mid lane Vladimir build where you go Will of Ancients into Spirit Visage, maybe even just Hextech Revolver into Spirit Visage, because it just allows you to sustain so much. I mean, once you do get that Hextech Revolver, it's a lot harder for Xerath to poke you out, or at least get you out of lane easily.
That's how VDS is going to struggle in the early game, though. There's a lot of poke coming out from Xerath, and yes, you can sustain yourself a little bit, but before you hit that level 9, transfused level 5 power spike, as Vlad against a poke-heavy lane, you tend to struggle, especially since he's gone for Ghost instead of Heal as well.
Now, what we're going to see from Nocturnal Plex, he's been said by his team he's a greedy jungler. He doesn't like to prioritize vision, and he'll go straight for basically a very solo queue mentality, which is just get as much damage or as tankiness as possible.
We saw that in the last game as well, didn't we?
Now he's on a Rek'Sai, very easily can get in and put deep wards down. Will we see him go for a Sight Stone? A lot of Rek'Sais do go for Sight Stones, like early on. They use that burrow and use that tunnel to just get into the enemy jungle, put some deep vision down. And I think they need it because they just lost out to VG completely. And that's one of the big things that separates the top teams from the good teams. And I'm not talking about patch notes here. I'm talking about vision control. That is one of the main things that you'll see. A load of pros will tell you the difference between a team that is top and a team that is just good is the amount of vision they put down, because vision can win you games. And we saw last game, it was won almost entirely by vision. I could name 3 occasions off the top of my head that I can just remember. The Dan engage onto the river brush that caught out VDS. The amount of vision they had on the red side that allowed them to take out Exabyte before he could move towards the top lane. And just the vision control and dominance they had over the Baron area to allow them to just go for a very free Baron afterwards.
It's all about understanding where you need vision control as well. VG never wasted vision. They weren't placing wards around Baron if they weren't going to go for Baron. They weren't placing wards at Dragon if Dragon had just gone down. It's about understanding where you can use the vision and how to prioritize positioning your wards as well. When they were going for a top lane 4-man gank, they had wards in there a minute and a half before they were going for it because they knew this is what we're going to do in a minute and a half. And you feel exceL were perhaps a little bit on the back foot.
exceL were too reactive for a team that needed to be safer and a bit more proactive
in their warding.
Because they needed to make sure that they weren't losing out in the early to mid game because that's where their composition fell down.
Definitely.
So they needed to be a bit more proactive with their warding. I'd like to see Artorias get a bit more dangerous, or make a bit more dangerous movements with that Shyvana, try and get some deep wards down himself. I really, really would like to see Plex run with a Sight Stone, or at least invest, a good 300 to 400 golds worth of early game wards or to mid game wards on that champion. But the real key matchup here for me is this mid lane. VDS just cannot get taken out as early as he got taken out last game. He cannot disrespect Imbolite again and just get killed. I mean, they did manage to mount a little bit of a comeback, but not before Imbolite had a significant lead. And this matchup is really where the key amount of damage is going to come from the exceL guys. Vladimir in that mid lane, with a composition like this, you've got a Rek'Sai and a Shyvana. Yes, early to mid game, sure, they can actually put out a significant amount of damage with their base damages. But when you move a little bit further towards the team fights, you're really going to have to compete with that Jinx, because Jinx can do the damage of an entire team herself, just because of the fact she has the AoE rockets and she has a massive AoE execute. And then obviously you have the combination with the poke from Imberlight, and he has a fairly good AoE teamfight himself. I mean, Xerath, not the biggest AoE, but he still can do damage across a large area. It's going to be up to VDS to be the mainstay of the damage here for exceL.
Yeah, it definitely is. And it's what we've seen from both of the exceL lineups. We had the Jinx, who was the mainstay of the damage in the last game. Didn't work out too well for them there. And this time, it will be a VDS being the mainstay of the damage for them. And they still do have Sivir in the AD carry. They've got a little bit of extra damage coming out. But I'm not sure how they'll fare up against the long-range poke that's going to come out from VG. VG showed us in the last game how well they control vision, how well they can control map objectives. And I wonder whether with this extra poke, they'll be even stronger at controlling those objectives. We saw it a lot when DX Alchemist was playing Xerath. He'll lock out the enemy jungler because they've got deep wards as the dragon or Baron comes up, get them down to a 3rd HP, and then you really can't do anything with your jungler that low. Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't even be too concerned about a lane swap coming out here from either side, because essentially it depends whether exceL and Red Movement are comfortable going into a Morgana Jinx. I would imagine that they would want to go into that. As long as exabyte is good with his spell shields, they'd be fairly comfortable going in that matchup, because it's unlikely that anyone like exabyte is going to get caught easily. He can either spell shield the Flame Chompers or spell shield a Binding, and he'll be fairly safe in that respect. But a lane swap wouldn't be the end of the world for VG, because it would put Jinx in a position where she can shut down the Shyvana fairly easily. You know, Shyvana will not easily be able to go and take enemy buffs away, for instance. I mean, obviously, you don't actually see that too much when you're running a TP teleport, a Smite teleport top lane, because they usually end up focusing their own jungle. And it looks like VG are going to move all down towards this bot lane.
Yeah, the thing about that is, of course, you can smite your own buff. Doesn't take away. You don't have to kill the camp to get the buff, so you tend to see top lanes just smiting the camp.
Oh, exabyte.
exabyte does need to be careful. He will just place the ward in the bush and should, nicely done by him. Uses that stop command, make sure that he doesn't get caught out in the binding, and will be able to walk away. He hadn't leveled up a skill. Oh no, he had. He'd leveled up Boomerang Blade, so if he'd got caught out there, probably would have been a dead Sivir, or he'd have to flash away, of course.
Nice reaction from exceL to go and get some wards on the VG side lineup. Actually, VG are going to go in ahead, move towards another bit of a red invade coming out here.
They've got a ward spotting this out, so VG are... Then it's known that they're in this red side jungle. I really think that exceL should just back away here. They're going to spot out that ward as it comes down towards the Krugs. It means that Exabyte and Red Movement have to be careful if they decide to go for those. I expect them not to, because all it takes is a 3-man push down into that bottom side. And VG, once again, retreating to their blue side jungle. Artorias is all laying in wait here at the Razorbeaks. Is Prince Philip going to walk through here? No, he's going to go the long way around. Doesn't know where the rest of exceL are.
There are pings coming down. Artorias is just waiting. I think they're basically allowing Prince Philip there is no vision on their own red side, so they're just waiting for Prince Philip to check this out. He's already used his ward, so Artorias could very easily get away with stealing this red buff. Yeah. And this would be a big bonus for the exceL guys. And he's actually going to go ahead and
for the Razorbeaks.
He's going to take the Razorbeaks, which is a little bit safer, I think. But he could have very easily taken that red buff.
Yeah, the thing about that was that if all it took was Prince Philip to be waiting around in this sort of area and then come down towards it, so I can't blame him for going for the safe option. Make sure he's safe at those Razorbeaks. We'll take them away. Prince Philip taking away the Krugs means that he'll get that level 2 as well. They'll both probably just teleport into that bot lane after backing away. Prince Philip, of course, will take a little bit longer. Keystrike not as good at clearing a jungle camp as the Burnout. They will back away, and actually looks like Artorias is going to try and run up here. Yep, he is. He's going to pop the Burnout and try and run up towards the top lane.
It's safe really to teleport, but I actually don't think he'll likely be using the teleport in the next 3 minutes. So maybe lose a little bit of experience here, as Prince Philip did actually walk into lane, but it won't be the end of the world at this point in time. Plex is going to take away this very early River Krug, which will provide a little bit of safety, I guess, for Artorias in the top lane. But yeah, Artorias, he's going to miss a little bit of experience here just for saving that teleport. Maybe he's worried about early pressure on him and he wants to be able to get back into the lane, but honestly, I wouldn't have been that bothered about burning my teleport level that early on, just because it allows you to get in and keep even on experience, and you're unlikely going to be using it because the dragon's very unlikely going to be going down in the next sort of 3 minutes, and also bot lane ganks or bot lane teleports are less likely to have an impact from the teleport. People are going to go down before the teleport becomes really an element in any sort of engages in that bot lane. And also it's Shyvana, pre-6, like what's she really going to do?
I'll run towards you. Especially without the flash as well, not going to be able to stick on people too easily. A bit of aggression from both bot lanes at the moment. exabyte's been pushed back. Both of the AD carries have popped their health potions. A little bit of a CS advantage for Nizar here, but exabyte being pushed back towards the tower will be able to clean these ones up relatively safely. Red movement giving him a little bit of a helping hand, but shouldn't be too difficult. He's going to get 2 of the 3, so well done to exabyte. Nice little farm session under the tower there, and it's an even start across the board. We do see Nocturnal Plex is already backed away, picked up that Skirmisher's Saber, whereas VG Dan is still sitting on that gold. Not quite sure what he wants to do with it, but once again, VG, great ward coverage in this bottom river.
Oh, red movement.
Red movement. Takes a little bit of harassment there. exabyte does as well. Rafa's been very on point with these bindings, and Nocturnal Plex going to come down towards this bush. He won't spot out Dan with that Tremors, but does have the Skirmisher's Saber and will be able to fight this one if they get into a fray. Queen's Wrath has been popped, and Dan needs to get away. Rafa coming in from the side as well, but Plex pops out that Prey Seeker. He has got a burrow available if he wants to get into this fight, but with exabyte and red movement so low, heal and exhaust popped as well. I doubt they'll want to fight this one at all at the moment.
Yeah, exabyte and red movement are really struggling against the Jinx from Nizar. It is one of his best champions, and he's picked it almost every time it's been available to him. They're going to have to back off very early on. Not the kind of lane they would have hoped for, especially with a Sivir maybe looking to put some early pressure down. Top lane is very even now between Artorias and Prince Philip. It's 1 level advantage to Prince Philip, but the teleport in hand for Artorias should he choose to go back. But like I said, hasn't had to use it so far, unlikely going to have to be using it before Prince Philip becomes available.
It's only 75 seconds left on that teleport. Prince Philip being pushed back a little bit by the burnout is what you expect against the Shyvana. She's got great wave clearing capabilities, and we do see red movement and exabyte had to back away already. They're going to lose probably about 6 minions, and these minions will be picked up by them, but they lost that last wave to the tower. It's going to put them about 8 or 9 CS behind overall.
Yeah, and actually, luckily for them, they're only going to be going evenly up against another pickaxe in this bot lane, so they aren't going to be going up with a BF sword coming back from Nizar. So not too bad at all.
That would probably be the end of the lane if they had a
probably be the end of the lane in terms of putting pressure, kill pressure onto Jinx. But luckily for them, that's not going to happen. Vedius is actually doing fairly well against Imbolite in this mid lane. He is sustaining very nicely. Imbolite obviously burning through his mana. He does have that passive to get the mana back very easily, but you know, Vedius has been taking the brunt of these Arcano pulses and has not been too stressed about it. He has got the mana, he's got the gold to go back and get that Hextech Revolver to allow him to sustain even further. exabyte and red movement in this bot lane have to be careful. They have put a deep ward down to try and pick out Dan if he does choose to come in through the lane. So they'll be safe in that respect. And actually, Dan does look like he's heading down towards this way.
There's a ward there. We'll spot him out.
There will be.
No way that exceL should die to this gank. They know Dan's there. They've even got a ward in this far bush in the bottom of the lane as well. So exabyte going to be pushed back along with red movement anyway. So they will just back away towards the tower. Needs to be a little bit careful. Binding from Rafa there would have got a little bit of damage on him. Of course, spell shield still available means that it will be difficult for them to get anything at the moment in that lane. Artorias has gone for boots instead of the Hunter's Machete that we see coming out from Prince Philip, and already we see Artorias going for a bit of jungle pressure. This is what we've always seen from top lane Shyvanas, trying to take away those enemy golems or the enemy Krugs or whatever's in the enemy jungle.
Throwback to Darian from
good old
Moscow
Dazza.
5. Yeah. Dan really looking to make something happen in this bot lane. He's putting a lot of pressure down. Red movement is eating a lot of these bindings. Obviously, it's nice from Rafa because he respects the fact that exabyte will likely be able to spell shield all of these bindings very easily, so red movement is the target. exabyte did manage to spell shield out a zap, but they're still losing pressure against a lane that's going to outscale them. Well, I mean, I know Janna scales well, but really, Jinx outscales Sivir quite heavily, and they're down on a considerable amount of CS, 10, and they're losing a lot of pressure in lane. And this is again, I always question why teams give Nizar Jinx so easily, because he's just so good with that champion.
If you're going to give him a Jinx, you have to have a matchup that works really well into it, or you have to have a lot of early jungle pressure. And that's actually something I wanted to discuss. Nocturnal Plex helped out a little bit in that bot lane earlier on, but since then hasn't really been doing a huge amount of ganking. We've seen him more just farming up his jungle. Has just hit level 6, so does have that Void Rush available, but I'm a little bit surprised that on an early ganking jungler like rek'Sai, we haven't seen him putting that much pressure.
Interestingly enough, the tactics that Nocturnal Plex really likes to employ the majority of the time is he likes to gank bot.
Yeah.
Ganking bot is this thing, it's just the thing that he loves to do. So we haven't seen him exert any pressure down there at all. In fact, he's been trying to do some work in mid lane, and that hasn't worked out for him. I think he did just come to counter gank bot, or at least he came to put some pressure down because they were really, really low. But yeah, I think given how much pressure was put on by the VG lineup, they just didn't have the ability to make anything happen in the bot lane. Because obviously exabyte and red movement was so low. And then they've come back into lane and just haven't had the opportunity at this point in time. And Rafa just being so aggressive and just pushing this lane out, controlling and getting bindings down as well. And it's been so difficult for Nocturnal to make anything happen.
There's a ping on the ward behind Rafa and Nizar. I think that was a ping from the side of VG. I'm not 100% sure, but teleport available for Artorias in about 50 seconds. I wouldn't be surprised if we see them trying to get in behind this fight. Artorias has gone for the boots along with the Barmy Cinder and the Hunter's Machete, but a completed Cinderhawk enchantment on that Skirmisher's Saber for Prince Philip means that he'll win out those trades in the lane, assuming he has his smite available, which he does. And Artorias struggling a little bit against that Shen. Prince Philip doing a great job of farming. Shen is not someone we expect to farm well in a 1v1 matchup.
Yeah, and he's getting a lot of pressure down onto Artorias here. The smite does come down, and it looks to get some damage down onto Artorias. Artorias will not be too dismayed by that. He'll be okay. He has got teleport up very, very soon. Imbolite going toe-to-toe with Vidius, but like you said, Vidius has picked up the Lucidity boots and the revolver, so he's going to be sustaining very easily. Dan is going to get... Well, he's not being spied up by anything just yet. That ward there is going to spot him out, and I think Vidius and Flex do know about this now. Again, bot lane, a lot of pressure coming down. Rafa getting taken very low. Nizar having to do the front line of the damage taking here. Yeah. Exabyte and red movement, they didn't come too badly out of that trade, to be honest.
The problem is that Nizar has pots, and there are no pots on Exabyte. Yes, you've got the pseudo-sustain from the Janna shields, but
Pseudo-sustain, we love that.
Pseudo-sustain. All that Nizar needs to do is just wait around behind this minion wave for a couple of seconds, use a couple of fish bones, he'll be back up to full health. Exabyte will be nowhere near that, taking harassment just from the farming as well from Nizar with that explosion off the fish bones.
Actually, Nocturnal wants to catch out Prince Philip here.
Yeah, he might be able to do it. He can bow across the wall. Artorias is going to fight up against Prince Philip. The smite does come down. Prince Philip will taunt away, and Nocturnal Plex is not quite close enough. I don't think the Prey Seeker comes out. Artorias, of course, doesn't have that ultimate. We saw him use it a couple of seconds ago. He's going to dive, and he will pick up the kill. Artorias, nicely done. The Prey Seeker did help out, but Artorias pretty much did that by himself.
Yeah, I mean, I actually think the Prey Seeker was crucial to getting that kill, to be honest, because otherwise Shen would have been easily been able to get away. Oh, nice ultimate by Plex to get down towards this dragon area. He notices the dragon has been pulled out of the pit at least. Vidius doing his best to just be an annoyance. They are 4v4 at this point in time. That's the beauty of rek'Sai. You can make something happen in the top side and immediately react to these dragons that are supposed to happen because of the man advantage, and obviously he can immediately correct these man advantages in either lane. But this is going to be a big pickup in that top lane. Artorias, like we said, you just saw the percentage health-based damage coming out there, really just chunked through Prince Philip. And nice to go for the tower dive because he noticed that there was just nowhere near enough energy for a taunt to be made. And I really like that. That's a nice play by Artorias, and he's definitely evened himself up in this top lane because he was starting to struggle in terms of CS.
Yeah, he was. He's now gone for that pickaxe of Vampiric Septosai. And that's going to go towards the Blade of the Moon King. You have to expect maybe we'll go Bilgewater Cutlass. Nocturnal Plex is going to get stunned. He needs to be careful because there's the binding from Rapper as well. Here comes Dan. Nocturnal Plex is going to go down. Explosive Cast comes out. Vidius needs to be very careful. He's going to get slowed. The smite comes out the taunt, but he flashes away. Sanguinpool was very good as well. Imbolite actually using his ultimate under tower. Vidius, the binding is enough, and Rapper once more on target. The Black Lady is victorious once more. Picks up the kill with a binding.
Again, just lack of vision control in that river area for exceL means they just lose a massive amount of gold for it. It's just the vision control is so poor. There is nothing in that dragon pit. They had the chance to clear vision out and put wards down when they managed to stop that dragon from being taken, but nothing happened there. And unfortunately, they do get the top lane turret for it, so there is a trade in objectives, but you've got to say that they could have avoided that completely with some good vision control around that dragon area. All you can see is there is one pink ward controlling the entrance to the red side jungle, and Rafa is now going to take that out. There is nothing for exceL anywhere in the mid side of the mid of the map. There is nothing. They need wards there. Something needs to happen. Sightstone is there on Rek'Sai. He can start to do some of that work, but right now the only thing that's going in exceL's favor is Artorias.
The only vision control they have in the enemy side of the map is this ward placed by Artorias up on the top side. He's going to fight up against Prince Philip. I mean, there's no red side wards here for VG. They don't even know their own side of the map because Artorias has pushed them back behind that tower, but there's no objectives up there for them at the moment. Prince Philip's going to stay safe near his tower. He's just going to farm up as much as he can against this pretty big Shyvana. All that they're fighting over is this bottom side, and they're warding that one up like a treat. Imbolite might get caught out a little bit here. Oh, VDS and Imbolite just going to face off against the bushes. Okay. Nocturnal Plex, I feel, should have come down there.
I do. I like what Nocturnal Plex is doing now. He's being aggressive. He's putting some deep wards down. Unfortunately, I think this is the wrong side of the jungle for this point in the game. It does keep Artorias safe, but really you want to start to get pressure around that dragon area with vision, because that's where a lot of stuff is going to be happening fairly shortly. But like you said, Artorias can now very freely split push, and if anything reacts to him, he can then start to move away. Dan is going to clear that out, so he knows wards have been put down. It's a very nice play by Dan there, and Artorias is going to have to back out immediately.
Have we seen a tunnel on the bottom side of the map in this game?
No, I don't think
we have.
I think the closest is in that Wraith area.
Yeah, like the entire time Nocturnal Plex has been on the top side of the map, and yes, it's helped Artorias with a little bit of vision control. It's helped Artorias just be able to push out that lane, but he's still equal on CS. Yes, he's got a kill, but I feel like you need to get exabyte and red movement a little bit further ahead in this lane, because they're struggling against Nizar, and as you said earlier, Jinx scales like a hyper carry, like a train into the late game. The scales on Sivir are weighed against her. She gets later and later into the game.
Yeah, Prince Philip is not having the same pressure he had previously, though. So I really would say Artorias is winning this top lane quite considerably, and he's putting a lot of pressure down. There is a ward he stood on, so Prince Philip knows that that's there.
Hello.
Hello. And actually, nice pink wards coming out. Look at the pink ward control. They really value that mid lane brush control because it's won them so much previously. Dan is going to get knocked up by the Howling Gale, so it's going to have to require some reaction from the exceL side. Plex is going to take this red buff away after having taken Dan's red buff, and I think all said and done, a bit of a status quo has returned. Although there has been a bit of an engage in that bot lane, nothing too much come of it. Dan wants to try and counter gank here. He has walked over a ward though, so exceL do know that that is happening.
He's been down here for ages. Red movement, the target is going to be able to get himself away. The zap comes out though. Oh, one more auto. Along with the super mega deathlock, it might be enough. Of course, red movement, and the heal is available along with that exhaust as well. Red movement's backed all the way away. VG putting some pressure down on towards these towers. They are one tower behind at the moment, 2-1 in favor of exceL. And if they can get that, it gives them a lot more pressure on the bottom side of this map. They can go for that dragon as well.
Yeah, I mean, they can see how low the enemy team's bot lane is, and therefore very easily go for a dragon afterwards. And Nizar hit a big power spike. He's hit the Infinity Edge power spike, which means I don't think the bot lane can even contend this. They are going to have to give this one up for free, I think. I don't want to see exceL try and contest a dragon where they shouldn't.
Speaking of trying to contest a dragon when you shouldn't, VDS is going to get very low Hemoplague, but Imbolite has no mana left, and VDS can take this one. He's popped the Hemoplague, there's the heal, but the Stand United comes out. Not going to quite connect with the Shocking Orb or the Arcane Pulse, and Prince Philip does not have Flash, of course, but they do get the kill. And they get the dragon as well. A nice Stand United from Prince Philip. Wasn't interrupted by Artorias, so Prince Philip obviously went around. Actually, they get Nocturnal Plex as well.
How did that happen?
Why was he here?
I can't work that out.
Nocturnal Plex.
I think it was, again, another reckless contest, maybe trying to contest the dragon recklessly.
He got wrecked on Rek'Sai.
Yeah, and again, exceL just unfortunately making some mistakes. VDS in that mid lane essentially getting 1v1 that shouldn't have happened either.
Yeah. Well, he had the fight, and then...
I don't think he did, though.
Well, because there was no mana on Imbolite.
Yeah, but Imbolite can just auto-attack for mana.
That's true. That's true. It was close. I feel like VDS perhaps could have won it, but the heal from Imbolite kind of won it for him.
Yeah, the heal and the Shen ultimate.
Stand United, yeah.
Yeah, you have to think about Shen ultimate. Whenever you're getting into a 1v1 or a skirmish, you have to think that Shen is just on the other side. And unfortunately, again, it's just these dragons. They're a curse for exceL. Anything around the dragon area just seems to ruin them. And again, we're seeing them just start to struggle at this point in time. But
what do you think of the needlessly large rod pickup on VDS? He's behind. It looks like he's probably going towards a Luden's Echo, which is what we see out of Vladimir's.
I would imagine a Zhonya's.
It could be a Zhonya's as well. Yeah, Zhonya's makes a bit more sense. We tend to see Luden's Echo on the split push Vladimir's, and of course, he's stayed in the mid lane, and that's why you're the color caster, and I'm just the...
No, well, I mean, it could be a Ludenzeko, but I think given his current position, 0-2-0, a little bit more defensive wouldn't hurt him. Because he's going to be having to go, you know, excuse my turn of phrase, he's going to be having to go balls deep in the enemy team to get the majority of the damage on. I mean, someone's going to have to deal with Jinx. It's going to have to be VergeGG. He's going to need something to at least allow his team to follow up if he does go for it, so...
Like, Tunnelplex needs to be careful. Dan's coming around the side. He's going to burrow through those tunnels, but...
They're trying to go... I mean, they just give this tower. They just give this tower up. They give this tower up.
Splitting, Artorias is splitting, like, the tower's down. They're going to come back and try and defend the inhibitor tower in case Nizar and the rest of VG decide to go for it, but don't think they will. I think they will just decide to back away.
The problem is that they probably won't think that Jinx is a problem now, because it isn't a problem now, but it will be a problem for them.
Yeah, in the next 5 minutes, that Jinx is going to get her second item, and that's where you need to start being worried.
Yeah, I mean, oh, Dan again, Vision.
Red movement gets caught out. It's the Vision, Excandrel. Time after time we say it. You can take that to the blood bank as the Sanguine Pool is popped by VergeGG. Flame Chopper's not going to connect, but it looks like he might go down. One Arcane Barrage isn't going to connect, nor's the second, nor's the third. Impolite all over the shot with those pulses, but it looks like they're going to push it down for the inhibitor tower. Prince Philip is here. VergeGG gets caught out. Arcano Pulse! Not quite enough. He will be able to back away, and Artorias coming in with the teleport as well will help defend this inhibitor tower. It's only red movement down, and he'll be back up right now, but Artorias, shocking orb, is going to be quite shocking for him. He will have to back away. exceL trying to defend their inhibitors. What can they do against Nizar, who is pounding away on that tower? The machine gunner, Jinx, doing a lot of work. Going to take it down to about half HP, and VergeGG will decide to back away. Baron up in 8. Dragon relatively soon as well, probably in the next 3 minutes or so. VergeGG have backed away. They're going to clear out this jungle as much as they can.
Yeah, again, VergeGG just continuously superior vision control. They're getting catches from it. And again here, it's just the vision. They expected them to have gone back, and immediately VergeGG is going very aggressive
he's popped the Hemo Plague. Dan's going to go low, but the heal does come out, and VergeGG will be able to escape. Impolite off towards the side. A great taunt onto red movement. Nizar does have Super Mega Death Rocket. Here it comes. Monsoon cannot blow away the power of a nuclear strike, and Nizar from America is going to pick up that kill. Artorias trying to put a bit of pressure down here, but isn't going to be able to do much, and red movement comes out from the fountain, gets sent back to the Fountain of Eternal Death for him straight away. He's 0-2. VergeGG, the vision game for VergeGG is paying off dividends.
And 3-0-0 on Jinx right now. Oh.
Nocturnal Plex is going to get onto Prince Philip, but the Kingly Taunt will get him away. Nizar going to take a Boomerang Blade to the face and a Ricochet. Going to keep him around for just another moment. I feel like they need to back away a little bit. VergeGG might just need to give up this tower. Yes, it would be 3 all-in towers. You don't want to do that, but it might be safer. Here comes the Arcano Pulse. Pops one on the minions, pops another on VergeGG. Prince Philip still in the front line, tries to land the taunt. Here comes Dan, Explosive Cast knocks Artorias away. The binding not going to connect either, but exabyte very low on this Sivir off towards the side. Can she do anything? Oh, Dragon's Descent!
Defensive Dragon's Descent. They're only now clearing those pink wards out that have been there for a good, I guess, 7 minutes. Those pink wards have been there for a very long time, and they're only now just able to clear them out. Teleport coming up from behind VergeGG. Prince Philip wants to make something happen here.
Yeah, he has got the taunt available. Oh, Sanguine Pool was popped and taunt came out at the same time. VergeGG should be able to run away from this one. Oh, Vanduin's from Prince Philip might slow up the Bloodmaster for long enough. The transfusion comes out. A taunt will be up in a second. But
Artorias,
this isn't
where
quite
are you, buddy?
Artorias is probably not going to be victorious because the Super Mega Death Rocket once more, but the Hemo Plague, Nocturnal Plex. What have exceL done here? They've turned the fight on its head. Prince Philip the target. They do manage to pick up Dan, but a taunt. Here comes Nizar though. Sanguine Pool does block out that rocket coming in, but here comes the damage from the Jinx. It's enough. He's going to chase onto red movement as well. They pick up the kill onto VergeGG, and Nizar once again picking up some Type O for himself there. Takes down the Vladimir.
Yeah, and Nizar on Jinx, you can see he's just absolutely wrecking the game with it at this point.
Let's have a look at this.
Yeah, have a look at this. VergeGG, this is after VergeGG actually made a fairly nice pull to stop Prince Philip managing to get the taunt up here. Artorias wants to make something happen, and actually doing a good job of it. Had he had Dragon's Descent, would have been better, but that's a nicely timed ultimate coming out from Jinx. And the Dan lives for a little bit longer thanks to Prince Philip, but after that, I think Prince Philip does go down, but no, he doesn't even go down.
Escape.
Nizar manages to clean up a large proportion of this team fight. And you can just see the power of Jinx at this point in time with the Phantom Dancer, as opposed to that Static Shiv, just the crits out of this world. With the,
don't do it, Nocturnal Plex.
Oh,
don't
Plex.
do it.
He's got to wait for that tunnel to allow him to go through.
He might be okay because VG couldn't go all out aggressive because Artorias was on the side. But it's the second dragon
I don't
again.
understand why people are, I mean, obviously against the Jinx composition, it makes a little bit more sense because Jinx can push towers fairly easily. But Jinx is going to push towers fairly easily at this point in time anyway, so why risk giving up another kill to try and take that second dragon? It's just not the end of the world losing the second dragon. The third dragon is something you may want to contest. The movement speed is very, very useful in all aspects of the game. Yeah. Second dragon's just not worth contesting. If you're going to lose the fight, or you know you're going to lose the fight, don't bother. Yeah. Just don't bother. You risk giving up way too much from that second dragon. It's not like dragons used to be. Dragons don't give you gold anymore, so the only thing you're going to lose is a little bit of, or you don't lose anything. The only thing they're going to gain is a bit of tower damage. So yeah, I mean, I've got to say, the Gragas has had far more of an impact than the Rek'Sai as well, and the Jinx, you've given it to Nizar. I mean, what can you say?
He's picked up Phantom Darts now.
I don't believe he's lost the game in the ESL Premiership on Jinx.
Quite possibly.
I think I'll have to get that statistic double checked. Because I believe some of the games that we've seen Devine lose have been on Kalista. Yeah. I think every time he's played Jinx, they've won the game. And he's had a score that's pretty similar to this.
Of course, Devine, the old name for VG.
Yeah, for VG, sorry. I've only recently known...
Oh yeah, they only changed their name yesterday.
They changed their name yesterday, so...
But it is a Luden's Echo pickup on VDS. He's going to be trying to clear out those waves. Gets a little bit more burst as well, but it's not going to help him out too much against what is a very tanky
Jinx is so
front.
far ahead at this point. The armor would have been really useful for him. Maybe he just thinks that he just has to be able to
either has to kill her, or he's going to die no matter what. Yeah. So it's understandable. You can understand how that reasoning does go, and he is ahead on CS over Imbolite, about 20 ahead there. Across the board, actually, exceL ahead apart from that top lane, and they're doing some good pressure, but I think saying that your jungler's ahead isn't the best compliment. Hemoplay comes down, VDS gonna get some damage down, but the Black Shield is enough. He Sanguine pulls to try and get away. Dan has popped that explosive cask. There's the On the Hunt from Sivir. She's gonna get that movement speed, and Nocturnal Plex is there as well. A good binding across the wall, but Nizar needs to try and retreat because at the moment, it's only Rafa and Nizar against the world. Imbolite is gonna try and get a flanking position off here, but won't have too much against them. Oh, the shocking orb onto Nocturnal Plex. There's the Arcana Pulse as well. It's not going to be enough. There was a Stand United available in that fight. Decided not to use it on Dan.
When he's going toe-to-toe with Artorias, he's not going to use the Stand United because it will just get
gives Artorias free damage.
Yeah, so it will just mean the Dragon's Descent will just stop it. So it's just too easy. That's why he backed off to his inner turret. He thought he might have to use it at some point in time. But even so, that was a lot of ultimates burn. Oh wow, nice flame choppers. But that was a lot of ultimates burn. Simply for Dan. Yeah. And that's not even a key target at this point in time. I mean, yeah, for engage and teamfight control it is, but really you need to be taking out Nizar, otherwise you're going to lose every single teamfight. And at this point in time, Nizar hasn't got a flash, but he just feels almost untouchable. Yeah.
Artorias needs to be a little bit careful because Dan's rotating around here. He doesn't have a ward in that bush as far as I can see. And Dan might be able to put some pressure down onto Shyvana. Will she back away in time? That's the question. Here comes Dan. No barrel. Not. Oh!
That was too close for comfort.
Yeah, the barrel not quite connecting. If that had hit, pretty sure she would have had to stick around. But we see exceL on the other side of the map being like, we can do something. We can do something. Artorias teleporting in. Here comes Nocturnal Plex from the side as well. Imbolite gets the heal up. He's going to try and get away. Nizar has the Black Shield, and Artorias has Dragon's Descended in. Imbolite's going to get knocked up with the Howling Gale. The Hemoplay comes down, VDS low, but the Hemoplay is doing a lot of damage as it pops here onto Nizar. exceL kited backwards very, very well, though, by VG, especially considering the On the Hunt. And all of the aggressive sort of movement summoners are on the side of VG.
Oh man, they're going straight for Baron. This is desperation, I think, unless they think they can get away with it. There's so much left up. Pretty high health
Super Mega Death Rocket as well. That is big in a Baron fight.
They've committed now. They're going to have to go for it.
There's an explosive cast. There's a taunt. There's a very, very dead red movement. VD is the next target. He's the universal donor, and he's trying to give as much as he can onto Nizar, but it's not going to be enough. He has to ghost away. Artorias is going to get onto that Jinx now, but he's flame chomping up. Eat those flames, Artorias. You're going to go down. The Dragon can't withstand the flames. She had to get out of the kitchen. Nocturnal Plex. Super Mega Death Rocket. What? I did. I picked it up, but I missed it because I'm bad at camera control.
He was backing, and again, it was vision control.
Bad at camera control. I apologize, guys. Baron now for VG. I don't see how Nocturnal Plex steals this one, apart from a miracle steal. He's going to go in. He's got the ward. 2,000 HP. Here he goes. He tunnels in. It's going to go down. 300. No! Doesn't quite smite it at the right time. Dan picks it up with his own smite. Nocturnal Plex smiting a little bit early. It was desperation Baron, it was a desperation smite, and it was a desperation play from exceL. as they have failed to do that in this game.
Yeah, it's just looked really, really... it has looked really, really poor from exceL. From the mid-game, it just seems to crumble for them. We saw it in the last game, the vision control, it looks a little bit better here, but for the majority of the time previous to this, a lot of it was controlled by VG, and they managed to make picks. And the problem with the exceL composition here is if they don't manage to get into a good position with their the Sivir ultimate, they've got nothing to catch someone out. There is no point-and-click hard, there is no skill shot or point-and-click hard CC. So unless they manage to flank or chase completely with that Sivir ultimate, they've only got a few seconds to get into position to make something happen. Otherwise, they're going to be left chasing after a fairly mobile team. And with a team with a lot of disengage and a lot of protection as well in the form of the Shen Taunt. Whereas on the other side, you've got Morgana binding, you've got the Gragas body slam, you've got the Shen Taunt, you've got the Shocking Orb from Xerath. There's 4 different skills right just there that's basically a line-based skill shot that can lock someone up and allow the team to collapse on them. There is nothing from the side of exceL that allows that to happen. How is Vladimir going to get into a position to take someone out if someone isn't locked up, unless it's with the Sivir ultimate? And if the Sivir ultimate isn't going to be used to great effectiveness, there's nothing that allows VDF to get into position.
I feel like Artorias might have been better on the Scion here. It gives you a little bit more lockdown ability.
I
agree. You can get that unstoppable onslaught down. Decimating Smash as well would just give them that stick ability that they really need. Artorias is struggling a lot.
You're not going to get killed by Shen either.
Yeah.
You're not going to have to be worried about exabyte.
Oh, you are going to have to be worried about exabyte because he gets down straight away. Terabyte of damage.
That's exactly what I mean about. That's exactly what I mean about the VG comp. They've got a lot that allows them to isolate and pick up a single member, whereas exceL have none of that. There is nothing that allows them to isolate a single member apart from the unburrow, which is very hard to pull off anyway. And it actually doesn't last for a long period of time. exceL at this point are dead in the water.
Where's your CC? exceL, that's the question. Where is your CC?
Well, they're not excelling at CCing, that's for sure.
Not at all. Prince Philip tanking up the tower. They're going to take this bot lane tower down. 13 kills to 3. A 9,000 gold lead. And it's a struggle for exceL to get anything out of this game now.
Yeah, I mean, especially because you're going up against the Jinx hyper carry at 7-0-2. I just don't think there is any way that exceL can make their way back into this game.
Not at all. Interesting, we see Jinx going for the last Whisper next. Some AD carries that we've seen chewed up, specifically to Scott as well, like the Bloodthirster. VDS is going to get taken down with the Binding Wrapper. More kills on him than there are on most of the members
CC wins games, boys.
CC wins games, boys. Well, CC and wards. It's all about those wards. All vision winning the game here. Nocturnal Plex Flame Chompers, Binding, Shocking Orb, dead. Rek'Sai gets destroyed once more. He got Shrek'd. It's all Ogre for him. Flash Monsoon Wrapper gets knocked back. He's gonna go down. And oh, not quite enough damage there from VG. And my spectator's crashed.
My spectator client has also crashed.
Well,
I
was gonna make a funny pun earlier. Should I try and do it now?
Yeah.
VG took down that third dragon as easily as they've taken down the dragon in the top lane in this game as well. Artorias
that wasn't
1-2. It's not so much a pun as a comment.
It doesn't make much sense though.
Well, because Artorias is a dragon. And we're back to us.
Yeah, but he didn't get taken down very easily. He's
probably been the him and exabyte being the only hopes for exceL, but that hope is dead. It drowned. It got destroyed. Not a good day for exceL.
I'm going to get back into spectator game client, and I think you can just spectate from the